Hey guys, Ash here with another Raid Shadow Legends champion guide, this time on a mythical champion. We have Mezomel Luperfang to be exact. We actually have a few requests for this mythical champion. I'm starting to see some of you guys get lucky with a primal shard here and there, a remnant summon maybe as well. Have you ever gotten lucky on a remnant summon pulling a mythical? I have not yet, but someday. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you have any mythical champions. If so, who do you have? First off, a few shout outs. Bensenso, excuse me. We have Vivia Khan, and we have the Sure Ghost looking for a Mezomel guide. Is she trash? Is she good? Well, she's a mythical. Let's find out. All right, I feel like half the battle on these mythicals is actually just reading their kits because they do so much. I don't have the chicken. First of all, the chicken, by the way, Gallius Bloodcrest, apropos of absolutely nothing. This guy, I guess a rooster, not a chicken. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a farmer. He has the worst legendary or mythical, reviews in the game. But I actually don't even think his kit is that bad, you know, apropos of nothing. But if we go one over here, we'll see Mezomel Luperfang. I want to say she has the second worst reviews, or she's definitely up there or down there, I guess, in terms of mythical champions. Does she suck that bad though? Let's go ahead and review her kit. First of all, her base form looks pretty dang cool, if I do say so myself. I actually think she looks amazing. She's attack based. Her base attack is 1652, 105 speed. We have a little head bobbing around in the background here. Do you have something you want to say to my viewers, Charlie?
Happy summer.
Happy summer. See that? Happy summer. All right, sit right there. Wait for Dada to finish talking about Mezomel Luperfang, okay? Sorry about that, but happy summer. So we have her base form here. Good attack. The rest of the stats are kind of meh. Attack based, obviously, on the A1, Moonclaw attacks one enemy. Plays a decreased defense for 2 turns. You can book that out for extra damage and to ignore 20% of resistance. Obviously, not books that we want to spend specifically on the A1 here, right? On the A2, Scarlet Crescent attacks one enemy 2 times. Will ignore Stone Skin, Strengthen, Ally Protection, and Shield buffs. Plays a block revive buff if the target is killed. We can book this out for damage and cooldown. Unfortunately, we absolutely want to book this out because it doesn't hit that hard, okay? And if we're trying to ignore Stone Skin and pop off a reviver or whomever, we really want to get that block revive. It's not a very hard-hitting ability unless you absolutely min-max your damage and ideally get that 20% damage boost, which is pretty significant. On the 8th, but is she worth booking though? That's another conversation, right? On the A3, Moonlight Gift, this is a really nice ability. Increase crit rate, increase crit damage, and increase attack, all for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. Otherwise, a 6-turn cooldown, I do not have her booked. Mythical skill tomes are very hard to come by. They're very expensive if you plan on buying them, and I'm not going to waste them on Mezomel Luperfang. However, it doesn't mean that you guys might make the different decision, right? Because these books are very valuable, right? The extra turn mechanic pushes the cooldown of everything else, which helps mitigate the 4-turn cooldown. And the buffs do last for 3 turns, which is really nice. That way you can switch to her Metamorph form and still have them up for 2 turns for her hard-hitting AoE attacks. On the Metamorph, well, we know what that does. On the Relentless Hunt, her passive, heals this champion by 20% of the damage inflicted, places a Revive on Death buff on this champion for 2 turns every time they kill an enemy. Not bad because she is pretty squishy, okay? Let's go ahead and crit rate in all battles by 27%. I would not recommend using a crit rate lead in any really area of the game, but I guess it's worth mentioning because she does bring increased 30% crit rate. You could run her as an aura lead and go with a buff and basically run her at like 50% crit rate, which is pretty insane in min-max attack and crit damage if you really want to build a team around her specifically to take advantage of the aura and the self-buffing ability. On her alternate form, same stats notably here, but there is a big stat differential, and it comes in form of the passive, okay? Embrace the Beast. Increase this champion's attack and crit damage by 20% while in their alternate form. That's really big, right? I mean, 20% attack is hugely significant, and the crit damage helps as well. So it's definitely worth noting that her second form is where a lot of the damage is going to come from this champion, unless you're lucky enough, again, to really rev up that damage with insane gear and or like the perfect team around her with the base form, right? All right, so what does she do here? On her A1, Spirit of the Pack is an AoE attack that does not trigger counterattacks. It places an extra hit on enemies under True Fear debuffs. Well, the nice thing is you can book it up for 2. That's not the nice thing. You can book it up for more damage. But the nice thing is on her A2, Life Shredder 3-turn cooldown attacks all enemies not once but twice. Places a True Fear for 2 turns. The attack will not trigger counterattacks as well. Will also ignore unkillable and block damage buffs. Wow, that's a lot that she has in her kit, right? True Fear for 2 turns is extremely good, and we can ignore some resistance as well. Obviously, True Fear has a 50-50 shot at losing their turn and putting the skill they were going to use on full cooldown, so it's a pretty good ability here. All right, we already talked about Embrace the Beast. Obviously, her crit rate in all battles is the same aura on both forms. There it is, guys. There it is. So let's take a look at the most important thing we talk about this champion, and that is her multipliers, right? She has a 3 overall rating on hellhades.com, one of the lowest ranked mythicals in the game on her base form. Let me switch up her forms here and see how they rank the other form, 3.5 on the alternate form with the 2 AoEs. So again, I want to say this is their lowest ranked, or at least up there with their lowest ranked mythicals out there in the game. So let's take a look at her multipliers. Well, first of all, area rankings, Doom Tower Waves, a 4.5, Spider, a 4.5, Spider Hard, a 4, Ice Golem Normal, a 4. Really nothing too special anywhere in the game, right? She really is relegated to a wave control. So we're talking Cursed City. We're talking, obviously, Faction Wars. We're talking Doom Tower, wave content, just random floors of Doom Tower. And, of course, Arena. I think her best use case remains in the Arena. And frankly, I do think she gets a little bit of an undeserved bad rap in the Arena, right? She's not the best. She's just not. She's not one of the best mythicals out there. But if you were to pull her as like your first mythical or one of your only mythical champions, maybe you have Mikage, maybe now you have her, I think she can actually help you out in Hydra with 2 AoEs on the alternate form, right? What do they give her in Hydra? Hydra, a 2.5. See, I think that's a little extreme. That's a little low, I would say, right? Because you have 2 decently hard-hitting AoEs, right? Kind of like a Garrel, Broadmaw. A lot less damage, though, than Garrel, unfortunately, right? But you have 2 AoEs, point stands, on the A1 and the A2. You can't land the True Fear, so we're just looking at sheer damage. But in Hydra, you could put her in a curse set if you wanted to, and she could be a tremendous hex supplier for your team as well. So there's definitely utility you can get out of her, even with just 2 AoEs. On the alternate form, she has a godlike damage rating on her A1. This is a 2.3 attack multiplier, and you get the extra hit if they're under True Fear, which can be helpful in the Arena and wave content. On the A2, you get a 1.9, but again, it is a 2-time hitter, so really a 3.8, which is pretty solid. Another godlike damage rating. Let's go to her base form again and take a look at the single target multipliers. A 3.8 on the A1, strong damage rating. I would say that's kind of godlike for an A1. A 2.6 on a 2-time hitter, godlike damage rating again. That's the Ignore Stone Skins, yada, 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 right? And that's it, right? That's it. So overall, I can't complain about those damage multipliers at all, right? It's weird how much hate she gets, because if she was like a legendary, which she's not, but if she was, it's a really strong kit, right? The AoE True Fear 2 turns, the Ignore Stone Skin. I think that what people get let down with her on is that Ignore Stone Skin ability, right? It's like a Leo all over again. And this was my initial reaction with her again as well. When I first built her, I actually put a video out about it, on my main channel. And I remember being very underwhelmed. I was like, dude, she's not hitting hard. She's not going to kill anybody with this ability, right? At least I thought that. And then she smacked me. Granted, it was fully booked, the one that smacked me. But she's killed me a few times in the Arena, and this is a very difficult ability to evade, popping off your Reviver or somebody in Stone Skin. Anyway, let's go ahead and show you how I have her built here. I don't have her in insane gear at all, guys. I want to point that out right out the gate. I just have her in a Savage set, right? Savage set, and I threw like 2 random pieces. I think Savage and Cruel would be best on her, okay? But I took my old Cruel chest off of her and I threw on a random crit rate chest, right? There's a lot of room for improvement on this build that I have her in today. We could get a lot more crit damage, a lot more attack. We actually have some crit damage right here. I'm going to go ahead and use it. Why not? Crit damage with crit damage and Savage. I'm gonna absolutely use that. So crit damage. We have attack percentage, ideally attack percentage on the chest. We have speed on the boots, but a trip crit rate with some attack percentage as well. You can absolutely go attack percentage, especially if you're endgame in the arena. And I think the best build for her would be either Merciless, 5-piece with Cruel, using accessories, or a 4-piece Stone Skin and a 4-piece Savage and Lethal, okay? So I would think those would be the absolute best builds if you were just going to go all in on Mezomel as your main arena nuker. That's how I would have her built if you have the gear. I don't have the gear. I don't have Stone Skin. I don't have 2 Stone Skin pieces of accessories available right now in Skinwalkers personally. Anyway, I digress. We have attack on the ring. We have crit damage on the amulet. And we have accuracy on the banner. She does need accuracy to pull off those true fears. I wish we had a little bit more. We have just over 300 here on this particular build that we're going to be highlighting today. Total stats are going to be 5,800. But keep in mind, we get the 20% bonus attack as well on our alternate form that's not going to show up on the stat sheet, okay? We have 102 crit rate to 323 crit damage. Another thing worth noting here, guys, we could sacrifice some crit rate if we wanted to for, you know, and use the crit rate buff that she brings to the table anyway, okay? I generally try to err on the side of being safer than sorry, so to speak, and I like to even bring my increased crit rate champion self-buffers to 100% crit rate, because sometimes, especially like in Hydra, we really just want to stay in the alternate form. We don't have to keep switching back and forth. So anyway, do what makes sense for you. You know your account, your teams, and how you're going to be using this champion better than anybody else, certainly better than I do, right? Masteries. We went with the Helm Smasher, Ruthless Ambush, kind of an arena build here. We went with the Accuracy Masteries as well. You guys can see right now. I'll push over. I think this makes a lot of sense. If I was going to run her only in Hydra or only as a wave clearer, especially Hydra, I would go War Master instead of Helm Smasher, but we're going to be okay either way. All right, so those are the Masteries. Blessings. I have Soul Reap on her. Could absolutely go Polymorph instead. What else could we go? We could go Crushing Rend, especially if we had it 6-star, right? If I had her 6-star, I'd go Crushing Rend. Otherwise, I would go Cruelty, actually. Personally, I would go Soul Reap in the arena, and I would go Cruelty in everywhere else, anywhere PvE. I think I'm going to change her. I'm going to change her to Cruelty, though, because I kind of want to try her out in Hydra later on. Probably not in this video, but kind of want to try her out a little bit more. I was not overly impressed with her damage on my first go-round with her in Hydra, you know, just as a heads up. But we're going to basically just use her in the arena today. Hope you guys are cool with that. Live arena is open right now. I'm going to draft her in live. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. All right, here we go. We have her with Armand's, White Queen, and then Madame Ceres as our debuffer, okay? So she fits in any go first team. But of course, the cool thing about her is she's lockout proof, right? So if we're going against, or if you have her and you're going against a Warlord, a Yumeko, a Crixia, any lockout champion, she's going to be a great option for you because she can just switch form to get locked out in her base form, switch forms, and then true fear everybody, smack everybody down with the A2 ability, okay? Let's just A1 here. Let's test out one of her AoEs. There's no reason why not to here. So let's go in. Let's switch form. Actually, let's always self-buff first, right? Self-buff, get that extra turn, come in second form, and then boom, 80k or so damage. That's about what you're going to be expecting here, guys. Siphi, Lydia, Arbiter, you know, they're tanky, but not super tanky. But I think that's pretty realistic in terms of the damage that you can expect from this champion. Let's go against this squad here. And we're going to try, if there's somebody under Stone Skin here, we're going to try to go with the main form. So she gets knocked off right away. It's okay, I have a reviver. Let's go in there, steal some turn meter. Gonna strip off their buffs next. Who we want to get rid of here? Georgid. Okay. Well, let's revive. So there's no Stone Skin to deal with here, but the cool thing is look at this team, right? Now, it's not ideal to attack... Oh my gosh. I was going to say it's not ideal to attack Rotos, but never mind. I still think we're going to win this one, though, because we have the amazing Armands on our team to just keep stun-locking everybody all the time. Let's just neutralize both of their nukers for now. Turn them both into sheep while we get the cooldown off. White Queen, right? All right. Almost there, guys. Almost there. I promise we can see her. This is why I do think that ideally she is running Stone Skin, right? Just help her get through to her turn. It will make a big difference. Let's turn Rotos into a sheep. All right. Let's get her back up. This time she's not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and A1, Siffy, increase that cooldown. Okay, here we go, guys. So, ideally, we'd actually pop off on Rotos right now with the A2, but the problem is Rotos' magic affinity, we could probably weak hit and probably not block revive at all. So instead, let's go after Siffy with the A2 ability. Actually, let's make sure that we self-buff first, Ash. Self-buff, A2, Siffy. That's the first impression that I had of this champion, right? It's like, dude, she's got increased crit rate. Well, it doesn't matter, but increased crit damage. She's got increased attack. I mean, she's got everything that she needs, right? But she's just not hitting hard at all with that A2 ability, the deny revival ability. It's a shame. It's a shame. But I wouldn't immediately just say she's trash just based on that, because then she comes in with that A2 ability and gets a nice nuke there, right? Let's try against another team here. Let's go against a lockout team. This is a perfect type of team to go against with her. We don't really care about Yumeko so much. Let's see. We do go first too, which is helpful. No one under Stone Skin there, so it's not really even going to be an option for us to yeah, let's get the veil off of Yumeko there. All right, so here we go. Let's debuff. Let's go ahead and self-buff. Switch forms. Do you think we can pop? Let's try it again. Let's try the A2 again. This time we have debuffs on Yumeko, so she should kill her there. 68k times 2 hitter. Block revive. It's not bad. I mean, you can definitely pull it off, but it's very allele. It feels very allele, like ignore Stone Skin, awesome. And then you're like, oh, okay. Really need all the right circumstances, right? And that was a good example of all the right circumstances. We had the debuffs. We had all the buffs. We were ready to go. We were ready to rock, right? I don't really want to kill Sun Wukong right now. I don't want him to come back with a full turn meter. So let's come back in here again. And this is going to be that A2. What do we do against Taurus here? Not bad. I mean, 2-turn True Fear against Taurus. Really nice, you know? And obviously, I'm not going to show her in today's video against wave content, as I mentioned, but she could absolutely handle wave content with the best of them, right, in the game. Let's go against this team. I like that they have Helicath on here, too, because he has block damage, and we don't need to worry about block damage. Obviously, Retribution means nothing to her in her alternate form because she cannot trigger counterattacks. So Revenge accessories, none of that stuff will work against her. All right, here we go again. And again, we're just going to rinse and repeat here with the A2 and see what she can do. Let's self-buff. Always remember to self-buff. If you're going to enter in, if you're going to, code in the team setup on any team that you're using with her, make sure you're using that A3 ability, the self-buffing ability, before you switch forms. And again, she's a very competent nuker on her AoEs on that alternate form. So overall, what do we feel about this champion, guys? And keep in mind, I want to point out again, she has like a lot of crit damage. But her gear is good, but not amazing. I could definitely put her in attack percentage boots and just go all out. And maybe that A2 would start hitting a little bit harder there. So as we play this last match on full auto, I want to see what she full autos into here. I might have it already team set up on it, but let's just see. Yeah, I must, right? Oh my God. Well, I forgot to self-buff first, but she's still 2-turn True Fears, right? Elva just lost a turn to True Fear. Now she's going to go right back in again with the AoE here and smack everybody down. And she doesn't even have the increased attack and all the buffs that she should have on her A1 ability. So do as I say, not as I do. So do as I Do as I say, not as I do. There we go. I got it right. Overall, what do I think of this champion, guys? I think that she is definitely not one of the most wanted mythicals in the game. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. She's not what you want to see necessarily coming out of that primal shard when you actually pull your first mythical. That being said, I don't think she's that bad. You know, I would run her on my third Hydra team as a damage dealer on her alternate form. I would just keep her in the alternate form the entire battle. If you really wanted to, you could dip into the base form and take those buffs and then head back to the alternate form as soon as you can. But ideally, you're just setting her up with the increased attack champion on the team anyway. I think that overall, you know, it's hard to argue with a 3.5 if we're grading on a scale compared to other mythicals. She's not amazing, but she deals some damage, and she's a threat that has to be responded to. It has to be dealt with, has to be acknowledged and game planned by your opponent. So I think she's fun in the arena, and she's really good in wave content, just seeing everybody with the true fear. Let me know what you think of this champion in the comments below, guys. Much love. Keep the champion guide requests coming as well. And as always, take care, guys.